Hello and welcome. We are going to have a professional discussion focused on our students where their learning may be impacted by Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, which is also commonly abbreviated to ADHD. Knowing what Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, and I am saying its full name for a reason, as often in professional conversations we gloss over with acronyms and in the process preload the discussion with all sorts of unintended and unhelpful prejudice and experience. I would really like to think of the impacts and adjustments for this 5 minutes in an inclusive manner and try to open our understanding to the reality and opportunity that may be possible. Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder is a neurodevelopmental condition that can create learning and behaviour impacts in the classroom and at school generally. Behavioural impacts could include excitability or fidgeting or hyperactivity, impulsivity, aggression or irritability, lack of restraint or self-control, and persistent repetition of words or actions. While cognitive impacts could include absent-mindedness, distractibility, difficulty in focusing and forgetfulness, problem paying attention or inattention, and a short attention spans. These impacts can manifest in a variety of moods such as anger or anxiety, boredom, excitement, or mood swings generally. It's important to understand that specific learning disabilities can exacerbate, and furthermore, research shows that this can lead to depression. While there are numerous international conventions and rights to education and access, specifically here in Australia, our young people's rights to education are inclusively governed through legislative and policy frameworks at the federal and state levels. Further, national and state education-specific authorities reinforce this governance. Depending on your philosophical approach to your roles as educators of young people, and certainly in my view, it is the aspirational objectives and edicts such as the Melbourne Declaration of 2008 and more recently in the Mbadua Declaration of 2019 that acknowledges the needs of young Australians at risk of educational disadvantage in a socially just context that underpins my reasons for adjustment in classroom settings. These influences and requirements tie through to the next level, which is our school community. The importance of a whole school approach and collaborative partnerships with community and caregivers is integral in sustainable, socially just approaches espoused of these declarations. Bronfenbrenner's ecological model illustratively encapsulates a concept in terms most of you are familiar with. And most importantly, at the centre of the model is our individual learner. Our biggest and best strategy, I cannot emphasise enough, is knowing exactly who they are, and further, to continue to learn who they are growing to become. The agency of the student in partnership with your agency in facilitating their learning is essential. Some inclusive approaches to manage the impacts in the classroom can include what I call the 4 T's. We have transitioning, time, triggers, and technology. Transitioning is about aiming for consistency, using graphic organisers or other prompts, and also about familiarity, something that the students can relate to as they move from one task to another or from one area of learning to another. Timing is again about consistency. Allow the amount of time they need for tasks, break up tasks, set expectations with learning time, and sometimes it's a case of giving them some moving time to get out and move. Triggers could include specific learning difficulties, or they may be environmentally related. Where were they? What were they doing? Or it could be social. Who were they with? What might have happened in the playground before class began? We'll be looking at an instrument to help capture and manage behavioural response in just a moment. Our 4th T is technology. Again, we want to try and aim for consistency. Things like speech to text, iPads, other electronic devices or audiobooks all provide access for students. Multimodal approaches engage learners. There are solutions when we go looking. Using an antecedent behaviour or consequence form will help us to understand the solutions that we're actually looking for. Using an antecedent behaviour and consequence form, or ABC form, allows us to collect useful evidence to inform and understand what is actually happening. I would like to emphasise that in completing the form you keep as much detail as possible and also make sure that information is objective in nature. We cannot allow our beliefs or our opinions to cloud our judgments. Peter Sengers's work is a good reference for this. The inference ladder that he proposes does say that our beliefs can affect the data we select next time. Thank you for viewing my presentation. As you watch the references following, I want to mention some research I've run out of time now to discuss. The final reference engages a strategy of viewing video footage of interactions. Video self-monitoring has been successfully employed with other developmental conditions like ASD, for one example. Developing better reflective understanding with a move towards self-governance in much the same way that a UDL approach to planning aspires in respects to executive functions and intrinsic gains is certainly worth reading more about to improve your inclusive teaching practice. Thank you.